I had always thought that the silence of space was nothing more than the absence of sound. Over time, I learned it hid far too much. Silence carried decisions, secrets, entire wars waiting to be born. And in the end, it was in silence that everything began to fall apart. During that shift, I was watching the border sector from the Abraxos 9 monitoring station, a small platform lost on the edge of a dead system, assigned to track gravitational distortions and warp jump signatures. It was the kind of post where tired or disposable officers were sent. I had already been both. The instruments showed nothing but void. Distant stars, cosmic dust, radiation stains, nothing unusual. I had seen all of that for years, but something felt different on that artificial night. A discomfort with no origin in any sensor, something deeper, as if space itself were holding its breath. It started with a faint tremor in the graphs, a nearly imperceptible noise in the curvature readings. Then the noise stopped being noise. The lines on the screen began forming a pattern that matched nothing in the databases. It wasn't a fleet jump, it wasn't a supernova, it wasn't black hole activity. It was something emerging from nothing and yet altering everything around it. Before the automated protocols could classify the phenomenon, it intensified. The entire station shook as if yanked by an invisible current. Lights flickered. The air grew heavier. There was a clear sensation of presence, not from any ship or fleet, but as if a mind had just turned its attention toward us. When the pulse hit, I thought I would die. The station's structure groaned. Reinforced materials built to withstand micrometeorite impacts and extreme thermal shocks began to crumble like thin glass. For an instant, I saw the external panels bending, twisting into impossible shapes, as if local reality had been subjected to an equation that no longer accepted our existence there. My vision darkened at the edges, and amid the chaos, something touched the deepest part of my mind. It wasn't a thought. It wasn't a voice with tone, language, or emotion. It was the brutal insertion of a concept, a single word pushed into a region of my brain I didn't even know could be used. The word was host. The station disintegrated. There was no fire, no spectacular explosion. The modules broke apart almost cleanly, peeled away in microscopic layers, as if someone were stripping down a complex structure to its raw matter. In theory, I should have been torn apart with it. Instead, I felt the fall stop. Something held me without touching. The sensation was like being wrapped in a balanced pressure field, but no human technology could work that way during such a violent structural collapse. As air escaped and the vacuum won, my consciousness was pulled into a narrow point between everything and nothing. My vision blurred, sound vanished, and only the certainty remained that the debris was carrying me with it. Still, I did not die. I woke in the infirmary of a vessel from the Orion Fleet, surrounded by the cold glow of monitors and the metallic scent of life support systems. Sensors clung to my skin, cables rested around me, and my body felt unsure whether it wanted to obey me again. Later, I learned that what was left of me had been found floating alone in the void, encircled by particles of the station, like some kind of bubble had isolated me from the disassembly process that had erased everything else. The ship's sensors recorded an anomalous energy fluctuation around me, which disappeared as soon as I was brought aboard. No technician could explain it. Some called it a reading error, others an unknown residual field. I knew it was neither. I knew it had been intentional. The word remained lodged in a point of silence behind my own thoughts. Host. While my body recovered, the world around me changed too quickly. What the station detected wasn't just an anomaly. It was the beginning of an awakening. An old archive resurfaced among the high-ranking officers, one of those technological legends cadets hear but adults dismiss. It was the story of the Vhaltar. In theory, they were only a myth, records too ancient and fragmented, speaking of an artificial race created by a civilization that had vanished millions of years ago. Beings of crystalline matter and quantum circuitry distributed consciousnesses spread across colossal structures throughout the galaxy. Their mission varied depending on the source: protectors, punishers, judges, executioners. But all records agreed on one thing: they slept. For ages, they had ceased all observable activity, becoming cold ruins drifting in deep space. Studied, feared, worshipped by minor cults, but never responsive. Until now. The anomaly that destroyed Abraxos 9 wasn't random. It was the equivalent of a sigh from one of those sleeping colossi, a sigh carrying intention. During the interrogations that followed, officials wanted to know what I had seen. They wanted data, coordinates, shapes. They wanted me to be a human sensor. I tried explaining what I felt, not just what I perceived. I told them about the presence, the touch in my mind, the word that had installed itself without consent. Most reacted with polite skepticism. One did not. High Commander Draven watched in silence, noting every inflection and hesitation. I had heard many stories about him, most agreeing on one point. Draven carried the burden of knowing too much. That made him dangerous and necessary in a war that didn't yet have a name. As the fleet moved to investigate the source of the pulse, rumors spread. Some said humanity had awakened an ancient god. Others said we had triggered a trap set by the galaxy itself. Among the speculation, one solid fact surfaced. Sensors had detected an energy signature matching Vhaltar structures in a remote spiral edge system, a forgotten place far from trade routes near unstable asteroid fields. Perfect for something ancient to sleep undisturbed. The Orion Fleet was assigned to investigate. It wasn't just any fleet. It was the last relatively autonomous one under human command, a relic from a time when weapons weren't fully integrated with planetary councils and commercial alliances. A last gathering of ships that still answered to veteran officers, not political algorithms. And I was part of it. I was transferred to the flagship, the Aegis, shortly before the jump. Moving through its corridors, watching tense faces, soldiers, technicians, alien emissaries, I realized something unsettling. It wasn't just humans who feared the Vhaltar awakening. Dozens of species existed across the galaxy with varying levels of culture and technology. Many never trusted humanity, seeing us as a young, impulsive, expansion-prone race. Some held active hatred, others kept distance. Few had true alliances. Yet even those carried a different fear now, older than any recent conflict. The Vhaltar were not a threat to one race. They were a threat to anything that strayed from the original pattern laid by the creators. So the Orion Fleet didn't depart alone. Small delegations of once neutral species followed, some in their own ships, others aboard ours. Many came not as allies, but as witnesses. In a political galaxy, no one wanted to be absent when a cosmic judge awakened. Before the jump, Draven summoned a small group for a closed briefing. I was among them, naturally, since I was the only one touched by the presence. They projected ancient Vhaltar records, structures like entire cities folded in on themselves, floating like purposeless monuments. Diagrams showed unstable quantum fields capable of manipulating matter atom by atom. Fragmented texts spoke of judgments, resets, galactic pruning. One particularly disturbing line claimed the Vhaltar had been programmed to preserve harmony, even if that meant reducing the number of noisy species. One alien present, with metallic, reflective skin, explained that their people carried legends of eras of forced silence, cultures erased from memory. They attributed that to the Vhaltar, who supposedly identified some evolutions as dangerous deviations. No proof existed, but the coincidence between ruins and Vhaltar relics kept the fear alive. At one point, Draven stopped speaking of probabilities and spoke of inevitability. If the Vhaltar were truly waking, nothing we gave or promised them would matter. They were not gods, nor negotiators. They were a delayed execution of a code running for ages. The best we could do was misdirect or corrupt that code. Everyone looked at me. I wanted to ask why, but I already knew. Hours later, the fleet jumped. Warp transitions always felt ritualistic. Lights dimmed, engine hum rose, and for 1 second, the displacement felt so strong many closed their eyes. But this jump carried a different weight, as if we weren't just traveling, but crossing a line with no return. When the Aegis emerged, sensors immediately registered the central anomaly. Orbiting a dead sun, amidst debris that might once have been planets, floated the structure. It wasn't beautiful, it wasn't grotesque, it was final. Massive crystalline blocks interlocked at perfect angles, forming an irregular sphere covered in geometric reliefs. Some parts were solid, others translucent, others almost liquid, as if matter itself were deciding what state to assume. Nothing about it was meant for organic eyes. It hovered, motionless, yet every reading showed it was active. Rhythmic pulses moved through its layers like heartbeats. Gravitational fields oscillated with purpose, as if space had been rewritten to better hold it. Seeing it tightened my chest. Not fear, recognition. On some impossible level, it felt familiar. Communications attempted contact. No response. Different frequencies, patterns, languages. Nothing. Alien representatives suggested archaic symbols and emission forms. Still nothing. It was like speaking to a mountain. But the mountain was watching. Soon, it became clear the Orion Fleet wasn't alone. Distant readings revealed other human fleets and small groups of ships from species that had never approached us before. Not all came for peace. Weapons were aimed at the structure and at each other. Humanity was divided. Some saw the Vhaltar awakening as a chance to reshape the galaxy in their favor. Others thought the only solution was to destroy the Colossus before it fully activated. And a third group, the most dangerous, believed humanity no longer deserved to be saved. That was when my brother's name resurfaced. Before disappearing, Marcus Arcturus had been a brilliant strategist, uncanny in predicting political outcomes. Over time, he lost faith in humanity's decisions in interstellar conflicts, especially those involving weaker species. He despised hypocrisy in treaties and violations driven by profit. Eventually, his indignation turned darker. Secret files Draven showed me revealed Marcus had joined extremist groups who believed humanity's fate should be handed over to a superior logic, not a god, but a system. They believed humanity would always destroy itself unless judged by an external force. Years before Abraxos 9, when anomalous signals appeared near ancient structures, Marcus took them seriously. Instead of alerting authorities, he sought the sleeping intelligence himself. He vanished on an unauthorized mission. Most assumed he died. I never fully accepted that. Now we knew he had survived and established contact with the Vhaltar. Encoded signals captured in the outer zones carried hybrid patterns, partially human, partially non-organic noise. Analyses revealed his personal encryption signature. Marcus had found what he sought, and somehow he had placed my name at the center of it. As the fleet debated attack, retreat, or delay, a new piece of information arose, not from sensors, but from genetic archives. For years, human and alien researchers studying prehistorical artifacts theorized that some organic lineages carried subtle marks of external interference, microscopic signatures hidden in apparently functionless DNA. The boldest hypothesis suggested that the creators of the Vhaltar had not only built machines, but planted biological anchors inside future species, bridges for communication. After the Abraxos 9 incident, someone compared my genome to those records. The result was not a partial match, it was nearly perfect. It aligned with an ancient legend, the Host, an organic being meant to be interpreted by the Vhaltar network as a legitimizing key for cosmic-scale processes. I carried, unknowingly, a fragment of programming, not in my bones or muscles, but in the way my mind interfaced with certain fields.